Yes, well, China's was unambitious in its 5-year plan because it basically said it's going to build more coal plants. It wasn't going to cap emissions. And there were some targets, but those were not that important. But, Joe, the thing that struck me most important about the 14th 5-year plan is essentially that they put a lot of money into technology development. They want to own the technologies of the 21st century, and that directly affects us. Not only do they steal it, but they take our technology that is available and they apply a lot of money and resources to it. And they've been actually quite successful over the last 5 years.
Now, KT, I want to come back to you talking a little bit about these rare earth minerals. It's been a problem, a developing problem for a long time, but now there are a lot of people ringing the alarm bell for people at home. Rare earth minerals going into the computer chips that we make. It goes into the wind turbines that we build. Marco Rubio actually had an op-ed where he wrote that this a strange reliance on the Chinese supply chains and Chinese-backed rare earth minerals poses a serious national and economic security concern. You know, what concerns you the most about this looking forward, where America is no longer being strategic in making sure that we have some of the core materials we need to build a 21st century world? KT, do we?
Yeah, and it's not just the rare earth minerals. I certainly hope you have me. If you do, it's not just the rare earth minerals. It's the entire supply chain of critical national security products, things that are needed to make the technologies of the future. We have that ability to mine it at home, but we have to take the restrictions off of the American mining industry so that we can find our own rare earth minerals. One of the reasons we were fighting in Afghanistan, although never spoken publicly, was that Afghanistan has a very large supply of rare earth minerals. That's why China was always so interested in Afghanistan. At the end of the day, though, we've got the stuff. We just have to allow our mining industry to get it, because it is the absolute critical elements that are going to be in all the technologies of the future, particularly in microprocessing.
Now, Gordon, I want to come back to you because China actually announcing that they're going to downgrade their expectations for GDP. We already knew for a long time China being a manipulating currency. What are the implications here? We've seen debt skyrocket, not just here at home, but around the globe, 277 trillion and counting. How do we balance the ability of China to not only basically play around with their currency, but now on top of that, be able to yo-yo up and down with what they claim the GDP is actually going to be?
Yeah, I think one of the important points, and you put your finger on it, is that this 5-year plan doesn't have a gross domestic product target. And that really was unusual. And that's an indication that perhaps China can't grow as fast as they're saying. Now, I don't think they grew as fast as 2.3% last year, which is what they officially reported. And I think that they understand that their debt-driven growth model is pretty much at an end. And that limits to what they can do. You know, in the Chinese central government, in the Communist Party, there's a big fight over how much debt China should take on. And at least for the moment, it seems like the deficit hawks are in control.
Yeah, KT, to you, because we spent 4 years listening to the media and Democrats berate President Trump, saying that he was soft on Russia. And yet here we have a Biden administration that seemingly wants to roll over, play dead, and give China our belly. How do we actually make sure that we have an America First policy that can survive a Biden administration?
Well, it won't. I mean, Biden has made it really clear. It's no longer America first. It's America last, particularly with regard to China. And Biden has had 30 or 40 years to stand up to China throughout his Senate career and as Senate Majority Leader. He never did. He always let China get the upper hand. And now, when it's going to be very difficult for the United States to stand up to China, I worry that the Biden administration is, as you say, they're going to show the soft underbelly. Look, the one thing we can do is to join with our allies in the Asia-Pacific region, particularly India, Australia, Japan, the United States. This is called the Quad, the 4 countries which have a vested interest in standing up to China and demanding free trade rules of the road, because all of those 4 countries are going to be at the mercy of China if China picks us off one at a time. So that is the only prospect that I see of the Biden administration doing something successful. Otherwise, you know, the odd thing is that here in America, right, democracy, free market capitalism, we're the one borrowing all the money. We're the one on a drunken spending spree under the Biden administration, whereas China, interestingly, is cutting back on some of its spending.
It really is amazing. Gordon, got about 30 seconds here. We see Beijing trying to tighten the reins on the tiny little outpost of freedom in Hong Kong. What are the implications when we start talking about all this stuff, from the rare earth minerals to the GDP to the currency manipulation? What does infringement on freedom in Hong Kong mean for America here at home?
Well, if Xi Jinping thinks that he can control Hong Kong, he's going to turn his attentions elsewhere. And that's especially true if he believes that he can do so without penalty, without cost. So we have a big interest